future of marketing. Transformation from cost center to C-suite catalyst.
Let me also bring in Abhishek for some more of the insurance perspective. Now, India remains an under-penetrated category country as far as insurance is concerned. But in the last year and a half, there has been a demand surge, particularly in the life or medical insurance products. Now, what has the impact of this demand surge been on marketing functions of insurance companies? And irrespective of the pandemic, what kind of transformation was happening in the marketing of insurance products at large, Abhishek?
The pandemic, when it hit us, but before we go into that, let's look at insurance as a category. And you rightly said that insurance, traditionally has always been a push product. Actually we say that Indian consumer probably doesn't ever want to buy an insurance, and only when pushed by a distributor will the customer go and buy some insurance. What has pandemic done is there is some bit of pull that has come into this push. So some bit of consumer interest, some bit of consumer pull has started to come into insurance, which has made the job of selling insurance comparatively easier. I am using the word comparatively because what also it has happened is, let's look at the Indian insurance market. For all the innovations, all the advancements that are happening in the digital space and self-help space, almost 90% of insurance sales in India, I'm not just talking about us, but overall as an industry, is still assisted by a insurance professional or a distributor, or whom we traditionally also call as an agent. Almost 90% of these sales. And traditionally, this agent or this advisor has been used to selling face-to-face. He'll come, he or she will come, meet you, tell you about the products, do some objection handling, and try to get you on board. That is how they have been selling for decades, and probably, if I just take LIC also, probably century. Now suddenly, because of COVID, this entire face-to-face meeting was out of the picture. That is no longer happening. And yet the consumer demand was there. And therefore, there was, we were talking about tectonic shifts earlier, there were huge tectonic shifts that happened where this distributor who was used to selling face-to-face now immediately actually quickly graduated to doing a mix of face-to-face where it was being allowed and a digital selling. Now that was a huge shift because we all know behaviors don't change so easily. But because the need of the hour was there, the behavior changed drastically, significantly. And now today I can say that most of the advisors in life insurance industry are actually okay and comfortable in selling customers through various other means other than face-to-face.
Right, absolutely. And in fact, that is something that leaders across teams have perhaps had to do, especially during this second wave that has been going on in India. But Mike, bringing you in, you've heard some of our industry inputs in the Indian context. Give us a larger overview of how marketing is changing globally and why do businesses need to transform now? And what are some of the key drivers of this change?
Thanks, Mridu. Well, I guess if we look at a global level, we're dealing with an exponentially digital global population now, a global consumer base. But I guess that global consumer base effectively are meeting in very, very small groups. And those groups are sort of breaking those traditional boundaries that were demographic related or physical border boundaries. And they're meeting with people based on shared beliefs. They're meeting with other people around the world in these small groups. So you're moving from this sort of demographic world to this psychographic world of small groups of audiences. And what they're doing is they're sort of building barriers around these groups. So they're sort of, connecting with each other, but then they're sort of tuning out the stuff that's coming in from the outside that they maybe don't believe in or aren't aligned to their self-interests. So this kind of poses a bit of a challenge on the brand side, from the marketing side, right? So, it's great because we can find these audiences, we can find these belief groups really, really well, but connecting with them is actually a quite difficult task. If we look at sort of traditional techniques from marketing, things like the loyalty programs, coupons or friends, family, rebate sort of things, that they're starting to lose efficacy. And so what we need to find a way is to kind of drive engagement. Engagement's been spoken about. How do we drive engagement, and how does marketing stop acting like a sales function, which obviously one of the challenges, it's there to drive sales, but ultimately my belief is it needs to drive the engagement with the consumer. So the engagement, the byproduct of that engagement becomes the sales of services and products. So for me, marketing is becoming, it's probably the best place across the wider enterprise to be that barometer of business transformation. It understands the way the outside populations are changing and can kind of take that insight back, not just within the marketing department, but across the wider business. And we all see that the challenge isn't really coming from your traditional competitive threats. The challenge is coming from those kind of non-traditional competitors that are disrupting the industry, and they're disrupting the industry based on engagement rules with consumers and those populations I spoke about, and they're doing it with agility, automation, and artificial intelligence.
Right, absolutely. And I'll just come to the role of technology in marketing very quickly. But before that, let me get a technology leader's perspective as well. Shiv, you're the only hardcore technology leader we have on the panel today. So tell us, how do you think organizations can break down some of the silos that various teams work in? Now, the marketing function is often not a very high priority, especially as far as tech investments are concerned. Do you see that changing, especially as, digitalization becomes all pervasive in every organization?
The technology is a basic foundation or paramount to do any business process. And as you say, marketing, I think it has become the most tech-savvy department. I think I'm pretty sure a lot of the colleagues from the banking and financial services, they will agree to it, because all this started many years back with the social media based marketing campaigns, as well as going for the social media based banking and WhatsApp payments and all, as you see. So I think banking was already working towards that. And who was driving? Some of the times the driving factor used to be not the business head. A lot of times the driving factor used to be the marketing teams, which are listening to the customers from various channels, and they are coming up with the innovative ideas that probably when we are capturing the feedback of the customer, we can cross-sell, upsell some things, or we can give some kind of a rewards. And it started all with rewards, and then those rewards in exchange of feedback got converted into the various products. And now in the pandemic scenario, marketing has been keeping up with the market, whatever new product launches are, only through technology.
CNBC TV18 and SAS present Future of Marketing. Transformation from cost center to C-suite catalyst.